Great to be here today, sharing once again my live strata tips. Hope you're all doing really well. Today I want to talk about mediation. And in New South Wales, we conduct our mediations through fair trading. It is a mandatory step before you can actually commence a tribunal application in New South Wales. So anyone who has been through the tribunal process is probably familiar with the requirement for mediation. And I attended a mediation yesterday with a client of mine, and I have decided to share my 3 tips for a successful mediation. Hi there, Ash. How are you? Great to see you. Welcome, welcome. 3 tips for a successful mediation. We did have, excuse me, we did have a successful mediation yesterday. Oh, I've got a bug in my throat. That would be right. You get on a Facebook Live and you get a bug in your throat. Tim, hi Tim. How are you? Yes, I did go all the way out to Parramatta. I got on the train. It was a 3 to 4 hour morning, an hour to get there and an hour to get back. Why we're doing our mediations out at Parramatta, I do not know. If you have been to the Sydney registry of NCAT, you will see there's lots of nice, newly renovated, spacious rooms there. So why they send us out there to Parramatta to do mediations, I'm not sure. I wonder if maybe they're trying to get the lawyers out of the picture, because if we have to go to mediations at Parramatta, we are charging a little bit extra because we're generally going from the CBD on the train. And as I said, an extra 2 hours really is added to the bill for the client. But yes, I had a lovely client yesterday, a lot owner I attended mediation with, and we got a good result. We were happy, and I wanted to share with you guys how we did that. And so I've narrowed it down to 3 top tips for a great mediation. Number 1, know what you want. So I sit down with my client and I say, okay, what is it that we're asking for? What is it that we want the Owners Corporation to do? What do we want to achieve at the end of this mediation that will make us happy or least unhappy or in a better situation to the one that we are in now? So be very clear about that and write it down. Say, I would like the Owners Corporation to fix my balcony. I would like the Owners Corporation to get a report. I would like the Owners Corporation to deal with my leaking ceiling. Whatever it is, set it out so that you know what it is you're asking for. The number of owners who I see who kind of have a vague idea, or it's a long shopping list of things that maybe aren't the responsibility. Some things might not be the responsibility of the Owners Corporation. It really pays to be clear about what it is you want, because when things might be offered to you, you need to know, hey, is that on my list? Is that something that I wanted? So tip number 1, be very clear on what it is you want the other side to be doing and what you'd like to achieve from mediation. Number 2, if you have documents that are relevant to the issue that you're talking about, you might have reports from experts, you might have quotes, you might have emails, you might have a real estate agent who has given you an estimate of what your lost rent is because you cannot rent your unit because it is leaking. Bring those with you. Better yet, send them to the Owners Corporation by the strata manager or the committee before the mediation so that they've had a chance to look at those things. And you can say to them, I will be tabling these documents at the mediation on Tuesday. Please draw them to the attention of the committee. I'll be talking about the content of these documents on Tuesday. And that really helps the mediation then have the best chance of success, because you're not going to sit across the table from somebody, whether it's a strata manager, a committee member, show them a document they haven't seen, and they say, oh, well, I haven't seen this, I can't comment on it, I have to get some instructions. So a good idea, if you have documents, to send them across to the other side first. That is assuming that those documents weren't included in your mediation application. And I think it's quite common that you get your hands on documents after you've already filed your application, and it may be that the other side hasn't seen those. So good idea to send them across just via email before the mediation so that everybody's on notice of what it is you're going to be referring to. And my last tip for a successful mediation is be prepared to compromise. And that might kind of sound obvious. We're in mediation. We're supposed to be negotiating a settlement of a dispute without going to litigation. But what I mean by this is be prepared that there may be things that the other side can't agree to in that moment. So they might not be able to say, well, yes, we will approve your bylaw. Yes, we will allow you to do that work. But they might be able to say, okay, we can commit to convening a meeting before the 30th of June, for example, at which your bylaw will be considered. So for you, that might be a win. That is a step in the right direction, because maybe you've been having a lot of trouble getting your committee, your strata manager, your owner's corporation to even consider your request for approval for your renovation work, for example. And they're not going to be able to approve your renovation work in a mediation. It's just not the way that the law works, depending on your circumstance, of course. But they might be able to make a commitment and put it in writing and sign it that they will convene a meeting by a certain date. And that might be enough for you to have comfort that things are heading in the right direction. So be prepared to take that step back and say, well, I can't get exactly what I want, but I can get these small commitments in the right direction, and I'm happy with that. So have some thoughts and some ideas about what those things might be before you go in. And Tim, you have just posted a comment. If you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. That is right. Preparation is key, not just in litigation, but absolutely in mediation, because that is what we are trying to avoid, going the whole hog there before the tribunal. And you should be. I always am just as prepared as I would be if I was going to be litigating the matter. And that is often where you have the best level of success and the best outcome. And even if you cannot reach agreement, if the mediation does not solve your problem, then you have ticked off that mandatory first step towards being able to then make a tribunal application. So it is something as an applicant you do have to go through for almost all applications. And even if you feel like it's a bit of a waste of time, you're not going to get what it is that you need, there can be some small wins to be had. And that's certainly how my client and I felt yesterday, having gone through that successful mediation. So those are my strata tips for today. Thank you very much for joining me, for tuning in, and I'll be back with more soon. You know me, I'm always around. Thanks, guys.